You're not afraid of failure. You're afraid that everything will work out. Too fast. Too uncontrollably. In a world where artificial intelligence is no longer science fiction, but an everyday reality, we find ourselves at a crossroads, a road leading into the unknown, where the outlines of our future are blurred by the relentless pressure of automation and the all-powerful generative AI. This isn't just a technological revolution, it's an existential shift that's forcing us to rethink the very essence of our existence. We stand at the dawn of a new era, where the lines between humans and machines are becoming increasingly blurred, and where the question of what it means to be human is taking on a particular urgency. Questions of identity, purpose, and meaning are all coming to the forefront, demanding profound reflection and bold answers from us. The future no longer seems like a distant prospect. It's knocking on our door, and we must be prepared to answer its call. We live in a time of unprecedented opportunities, but also unprecedented challenges. Artificial intelligence is opening up horizons for us that we could only dream of, from curing diseases to exploring space, from creating incredible works of art to solving humanity's most complex problems. But at the same time, it's posing questions that we don't yet have answers to. What will happen when machines can think and create better than us? What place will humans find in a world where most tasks are performed by automatons? How do we preserve our humanity in an age when technology is becoming increasingly human-like? These questions don't have simple answers, and that's precisely where the main challenge lies. We must be prepared for the fact that the future will be very different from our past, much more than we can imagine. We must be prepared for change, for uncertainty, for continuous learning and adaptation. And most importantly, we must be prepared to rethink the very essence of what it means to be human. Every day, we hear about new breakthroughs. Neural networks are writing code, creating art, diagnosing diseases better than doctors. Robots are performing routine work with incredible efficiency. And in this seemingly brilliant progress, a quiet but all-encompassing fear is taking root. The fear of losing not just our jobs, but our sense of purpose, of losing our social role, of losing what makes us, us. The fear of the unknown, of what once seemed unthinkable, is becoming increasingly palpable in our daily lives. We fear not only losing our jobs, but also losing our identity, our place in the world, our ability to be useful and needed. We fear finding ourselves in a situation where we are no longer needed, where our skills and knowledge are obsolete, where our work has no value. Think about your grandfather, who proudly told you about his job at the factory. His hands knew every detail. His experience was valued. Now imagine him in front of a soulless, automated production line. Will he find his place there? Will he feel his worth? The question is not rhetorical. It's a cry from the heart of a generation raised on the values of work as the foundation of identity. Work was not just a means of earning a living. It was a way of self-expression, a source of pride and respect. What will happen when this cornerstone of our identity is knocked out from under us? We risk ending up in a world where human skills and knowledge are devalued, and experience is unnecessary. A world where efficiency and productivity reign, but where there is a lack of humanity and compassion. But fear isn't the only reaction to the progress of AI. Along with it, there is also excitement and curiosity and hope. We see how AI is opening up new opportunities in medicine, education, science, and art. We hope that it will help us solve global problems such as climate change, poverty, and hunger. We believe that it will make our lives better, more comfortable, and more interesting. And this is precisely the paradox of the AI era. Progress brings us not only advantages, but also fear. The more we learn about the capabilities of AI, the more we realize its potential danger. We find ourselves between two opposing forces, the desire for progress and the fear of the unknown. And it is in this conflict that the tension that defines our era is born. This fear is not just economic anxiety. It's a deep psychological crisis. We are used to defining ourselves through our activities. When asked, "Who are you?" we often answer, "I'm a doctor, I'm a teacher, I'm an engineer." But what if this identity is taken away? What if artificial intelligence can do our job better, faster, cheaper? Who will we become then? What existential vacuum will form in the place where there used to be professional pride and self-respect? We risk ending up in a situation where our value is determined not by what we do, but by who we are. But are we ready for such a rethinking? Are we ready to accept the fact that our value does not depend on our ability to earn money or be productive in the traditional sense of the word? Erich Fromm, in his works, warned about the danger of human alienation in an industrialized society. Today, this danger is growing exponentially. We risk turning into observers in a world where machines perform not only physical, but also intellectual labor. Alienation is not just the absence of work. It's the loss of connection with the product of one's labor, with the creative process, with other people, with oneself. It's a feeling of powerlessness and helplessness in the face of the unstoppable force of technology. We feel small and insignificant compared to the vast and all-powerful AI, which seems to be able to do everything. We lose a sense of control over our own lives and the world around us. Think about your moments of procrastination. Often, it's not laziness that lies behind them, but a deep-seated fear. The fear of not meeting expectations, the fear of making a mistake, the fear that your work will turn out to be unnecessary. Imagine how this fear is multiplied by the uncertainty of the future, where artificial intelligence is constantly raising the bar. Every project, every task becomes a test of professional suitability in comparison with the soulless perfection of a machine. We find ourselves trapped in a constant comparison in which we cannot win. We fear that our efforts will be insufficient, that we will not be able to compete with AI, and that ultimately we will turn out to be unnecessary. This fear can paralyze us, force us to avoid any challenges, and withdraw into our own cocoon. But are we really doomed to such a pessimistic scenario? Do we have the strength to resist these challenges and find new meaning in a world where AI plays an ever-increasing role? But are we really doomed to unemployment and loss of meaning? Is there not only a threat in this development, but also an opportunity? An opportunity to rethink the very essence of human activity. An opportunity to free ourselves from routine and focus on what makes us unique, on creativity, on empathy, on critical thinking. An opportunity to create a society in which work is not a burden, but a source of joy and self-realization. An opportunity to find new ways of self-expression and self-fulfillment that are not related to our professional activities. An opportunity to discover new talents and abilities in ourselves that we never even suspected existed. Think about the concept of the shadow in Jungian psychology. Our shadow is those aspects of our personality that we reject and consider unacceptable. Often, it is in it that enormous potential lies hidden. Perhaps the uncertainty that artificial intelligence brings will force us to look into our shadow, to discover new talents and new areas of activity in ourselves that we never even suspected existed. Who knows? Maybe now is the time to uncover hidden abilities that we never even knew we had, having buried them under the routine of daily work. Perhaps it is in our shadow that the answers to the question of how to live and work in the world of the future lie. Perhaps it is there that we will find that unique value that no AI can replace. Remember the artist who was afraid to show his paintings to the world. He was held back by the fear of criticism, the fear of being misunderstood. But it was overcoming this fear that opened his way to self-expression and recognition. Similarly, society, faced with the challenge of artificial intelligence, can find new, unexpected paths of development. Perhaps we are on the verge of a new renaissance, where creativity and innovation will be determined not by the limitations of technology, but by the boundlessness of human imagination. Perhaps now is the time for us to rethink our values and priorities, and to create a world in which humans are not cogs in a machine, but creators and inspirers. A world in which technology will serve us, helping us to unlock our potential, not replace us. One of the keys to overcoming this fear is accepting uncertainty. The world has never been static. Technological revolutions have always been accompanied by anxiety and rethinking. But humanity has always found a way to adapt. And not just adapt, but also reach a new level of development. Each challenge became an impetus for growth, for the discovery of new horizons. We must learn to live in a state of constant change, to be flexible and adaptable, ready to learn new things and rethink the old. How do we recognize self-sabotage in the context of fear of artificial intelligence? Pay attention to avoidance. You postpone learning new skills related to the digital age, even though you understand their importance. This is similar to an ostrich hiding its head in the sand, hoping that the threat will disappear by itself. But ignorance does not absolve responsibility. It only makes us more vulnerable. We must look our fears in the face, not hide from them. We must be active in our learning, constantly expanding our horizons and acquiring new skills. For example, you might avoid courses in programming or data analysis, even though you know these skills will be in demand in the future. Or you might ignore opportunities to use AI in your work, believing that it's not for you. Devaluation. You are skeptical about the capabilities of artificial intelligence, ignoring its potential and denying the need to adapt. This is a defensive reaction, an attempt to preserve the status quo by denying the inevitability of change. But denial is not a strategy, it's self-deception. We cannot stop progress, but we can learn to live in harmony with it. We must be open to new things, ready to embrace change and see opportunities for growth in it. For example, you might believe that AI is just a temporary fad and that everything will return to normal. Or you might argue that AI will never be able to replace human creativity or emotional intelligence. Perfectionism. You are afraid to start a new business, waiting for the ideal moment that never comes, because you are afraid of not meeting high standards, including potentially the standards of AI. Paralysis from the fear of perfection is a familiar state for many. But in a world where AI is constantly improving, expecting an ideal becomes an endless race in which it is impossible to win. We need to learn to value the process, not just the result. We must be brave and try new things, even if we are not sure of our abilities. For example, you might postpone starting your own business, believing that you lack the knowledge or experience. Or you might be afraid to publish your creative work, fearing criticism or negative evaluation. Procrastination. You constantly postpone important tasks related to professional development, finding many more important things to do. This is a classic symptom of fear of the unknown. The more we fear, the more excuses we find to do nothing. But time passes, and the problem remains. We must take responsibility for our future and not wait for someone else to decide for us. We must be proactive and purposeful in our actions. For example, you might constantly postpone updating your resume or looking for a new job, believing that it's not the right time yet, or that nothing will work out anyway. How do you accept your shadow in this context? Self-reflection. Honestly, look at your fears and prejudices about artificial intelligence. Ask yourself, What exactly am I afraid of? What are my negative attitudes toward technology? This is a painful but necessary process. Looking your fears in the face is the first step to overcoming them. We need to understand our fears, understand their roots, in order to be able to overcome them. We must be honest with ourselves and acknowledge our weaknesses. Ask yourself, what exactly causes you the most concern? Job loss, loss of status, inadequacy to the demands of the new world, fear of the unknown? Try to understand where these fears come from your past experience, from the stories of other people, from negative news. Recognition. Accept your fears as part of yourself. Don't judge yourself for them, but don't let them control you. Fear is a natural emotion. It's important not to let it paralyze your will. We shouldn't be ashamed of our fears, but we shouldn't let them dictate our decisions. We must learn to accept our emotions and manage them. Remember that being afraid is normal. We all feel fear of the unknown. The main thing is not to let this fear take over us. Exploration. Instead of avoiding the unknown, start exploring the world of artificial intelligence. Learn about its capabilities and limitations. Knowledge dispels fear. The more we know, the less we fear. Education is our best weapon in the fight against fear. We must be inquisitive and open to new things. Don't be afraid to ask. In questions, attend lectures and seminars, read books and articles about AI. The more you know, the more confident you will feel in the world of the future. Learning. Focus on developing skills that complement the capabilities of artificial intelligence. Creativity, emotional intelligence, critical thinking, communication, empathy. These qualities will remain with humans. These skills will become our competitive advantage in the world of the future. We must invest in ourselves, in our development, to be prepared for the challenges of the future. We must become masters of human skills. Remember the story of the photographer who initially despised digital photography, considering it not serious. But over time, he realized its potential and not only mastered the new technologies, but also found new ways to express himself. This story is a metaphor for our time. We need not resist change, but learn to use it to expand our capabilities. We must be open to new things, ready to learn and adapt. We must become pioneers of a new era. The future of work is not fixed. It is being created here and now, by our decisions, our fears, our willingness to change. Instead of fearing the inevitable, we can become active participants in this process. We can rethink the concepts of work, value, and social role. We can find new ways to self-actualize in a world where routine work is performed by machines. The future is not something that happens to us. It is something we create. We have the opportunity to shape our future, not be its victims. We can create a future in which technology serves humanity, not the other way around. So, will we allow fear to paralyze us? Will we allow uncertainty to engulf our meaning? Or will we use this challenge as an opportunity for growth, for the discovery of new horizons of our human essence? The question is stark, and the answer to it depends on each of us. We stand at a crossroads, and the choice we make now will determine our future. We must choose courage instead of fear, hope instead of despair, and action instead of inaction. The machine will never be able to feel, empathize, create with the depth that a human can. Our uniqueness lies not in the ability to execute algorithms, but in the ability to dream, to love, to make mistakes, and to learn. It is in our vulnerability, in our imperfection, that our greatest strength lies. We must remember what makes us human and not allow technology to take away our humanity. We must preserve our ability to empathize, to create, to think critically, to love. These qualities make us unique and irreplaceable. But this does not mean that we should resist technological progress. On the contrary, we must learn to use AI to expand our capabilities, to free us from routine work, so that we can focus on what is truly important, on creativity, on communication, on self-development, on building meaningful relationships. The future is not defined. It awaits our definition. And this is not a burden, it is an opportunity. An opportunity to write a new chapter in the history of humankind. An opportunity to create a world in which technology serves us, not the other way around. An opportunity to create a future in which humans will thrive. Write in the comments what you have never allowed yourself to do, and what has held you back. I urge you not to be afraid to dream, not to be afraid to take risks, not to be afraid to step outside your comfort zone. Don't let fear hold you back. Don't let the past define your future. You have the power to change your life and change the world around you. Start small. Do today what you have always wanted to do, but were afraid to do. Sign up for a course you've been dreaming about. Talk to the person who inspires you. Start working on a project that ignites your passion. Don't wait for the perfect moment, because it may never come. Act now. And remember, you are not alone. Many people feel the same fears and doubts that you do. Share your thoughts and feelings in the comments. Support each other. Inspire each other to take bold steps. Together, we can overcome any obstacle and create the future we all want to live in. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to my channel. And don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments. P.S. By the way, this video was created with the help of artificial intelligence, but not sure about that.